All right, thank you for joining this live webinar. Today we will hear from Tim, David, and Nathan on how Veeam and Hitachi work together to elevate data resiliency. You have automatically been muted upon entry, but please drop any questions you might have into the Q&A section and we will answer these at the end of the presentation. All right, now I'm going to kick it over to Tim from Veeam to get us started.
Thanks, Emily. Hi, everybody. My name's Tim Krause. I'm an account executive for Veeam, and I take care of some of our largest Veeam cloud service providers. If you could go to the next slide, please. I'll go ahead and give a little overview of Veeam, and then we'll turn it over to David Moon from Hitachi. So 2024 is an exciting year for Veeam because this year we were named the #1 company in the data resilience marketplace, according to IDC. So when I started at Veeam about 11 years ago, we were #6 in the marketplace, and steadily throughout the years we've grown and increased our market share, and we're #1 now this year. In the data resilience, which is the data replication and protection marketplace. We're also #1 for backing up Microsoft 365 with over 21 million mailboxes or users being protected. And then a lot of people don't know that we back up Kubernetes. We're #1 in that space. And then for the 5th year in a row, we're #1 in the Gartner Magic Quadrant for ability to execute. Next slide, please. So I'm going to talk just for a few minutes about the 5 pillars that Veeam is based on. And it all adds up to data resilience, but those 5 pillars are data backup, data recovery, data freedom, data security, and data intelligence. So let's talk about a little bit about each one of those. Next slide, please. So again, I started about 11 years ago with Veeam, and at the time we did one thing and one thing only. We backed up VMware. The company was started to back up VMware. As a matter of fact, our owners wanted the name of the company to be VM, and that's why it was spelled that way, but nobody would call us VM. Everybody calls us Veeam. So finally our founders gave up and said, okay, call us Veeam then, that's fine. Now we can back up so many. We have the biggest breadth of operating systems and hypervisors and platforms of any other company that we can back up. Hyper-V, Nutanix, Oracle Linux, AIX. We just added Proxmox, MongoDB as an example with our last release. And so we've come a long way in the past 11 years and the 15 years since we started. And we now have the broadest coverage in the industry that we can back up. Next slide, please. Let's talk about the data backup pillar. So this is the core of our business, is backing up data. And one of the coolest features that I want to talk about for just a second is sure backup. So one of the things you can do after a Veeam backup is run this process called sure backup that actually runs a test on the backup to make sure that there are no errors in it. It takes very little overhead, and it's one way to verify that your backup was successful. Let's go on to the next slide. The next pillar is data recovery. So it's one thing to get a good backup, but really the most important thing is that you can recover your data. And we have been recognized as having one of the fastest recovery times in the industry. And that's primarily because of a technology called CDP, Continuous Data Protection, as well as our snapshot-based protection. And so probably the coolest feature in Veeam, though, as far as I'm concerned, is instant recovery. So right from your Veeam backup, we can put compute against your backup data and run that VM and do instantly recover and run a VM from your backup. So it's the fastest way to recover. Now, we're probably not going to do your entire environment with instant recovery, possibly, but while we're restoring your data, we can do instant recovery and run your business from your backup. To me, one of the coolest features we have. Next slide, please. Data freedom. So this means a couple things, but really it means that you can go from anywhere to anywhere. If you want to go from your data center to a partner like Managecast, we can do that with Veeam. If you want to go from the public cloud to Managecast or a partner to the public cloud, you can do that with Veeam. Basically, once you get a Veeam backup, it's the most portable backup that you can restore in almost any other environment. Let's go to the next slide. Data security. Probably the biggest feature here is immutable backups. And what that means is that once the backup is made, it cannot be altered. And so even if the bad actors get a hold of your backup, they won't be able to change anything because of the immutable settings. And we have a lot of ways of doing that. We can use object storage locking. We can use Linux hardened repositories. We have a feature called insider protection. So there's any number of ways to make your backup immutable. And at the heart of it all is a zero trust architecture and some alliances with some of the largest security companies in the industry. Next slide, please. Finally, the last pillar, data intelligence. So I see some really things coming with artificial intelligence in our product. For example, taking the backups and using that data for data mining or dev test within your organization, or the ability to automatically remediate problems with artificial intelligence. One cool thing is Veeam recently signed a 5-year agreement with Microsoft, and one of the things we're doing with them is a Microsoft Copilot project that's going to integrate Copilot artificial intelligence into the Veeam software. So that's a quick overview of our product. Now I'm going to turn it over to David Moon, who's going to talk a little bit about Hitachi and Veeam together and why we're better together. David?
Yeah, thank you, Tim. Hello, everybody. David Moon from Hitachi Vantara. I'm here to, as Tim mentioned, highlight some of the benefits of working with Veeam and Hitachi Vantara. Some of those benefits, specifically, Nathan's going to talk about from Managecast, as he's one of our shared customers and a fantastic service provider. So as we sort of look at what separates Hitachi Vantara and the offerings that we have in this space around storage for Veeam or front-end storage for customers from the rest of those out there. I mean, as a consumer, you have many choices and many decisions that you can make. These are sort of our core values, which I think align very nicely with Veeam and the story that Tim has told you about. Our first core value is what do you want from your backup system? Well, you want always on availability for your backups and restores. And with that, Hitachi, on all of our storage offerings, offer 100% data availability guarantee. We've done this on our enterprise storage for over 23 years, and we've brought that now to our entire storage line so that the customer buying our storage can count on their equipment being up 24/7, 365. With that, we've made some leaps forward in being able to allow you as a customer. You know, I know as a long-time customer, one of the pains that we faced is every 3, 4, 5, 6 years, you have to refresh your entire environment. You have to migrate your storage systems. Well, we offer with our VSP1 block storage the ability with our modern storage assurance guarantee to never have to migrate that data again. You can have your Veeam repository out there at the end of 3 or 5 years. If you're on our modern storage assurance plan, you get free controller upgrades that are data in place with no migration required. What we're doing there is two things. We're making that jump to newer technology much easier and seamless, and we're also making it more affordable by providing those controller upgrades for free. And sort of our last core value or pillar is around our VSP1 block storage. Say you have a Veeam repository, you're getting great data reduction from Veeam 2 to 1, and you're wondering, well, what could we do next? Well, if you're residing on our block storage, we have a effective capacity guarantee that will guarantee you up to 4 to 1 data reduction above and beyond what Veeam is doing on the backup side. Pretty impressive. This is guaranteed. This is a capacity deal if we miss our mark. So let's say we're 2.5 to 1. We ship you in additional capacity and we make up for that space that we missed. So a very impressive guarantee. I've been with Hitachi 9 years. I've had 3 claims where we missed the mark. We paid out all 3 of those claims with capacity. So again, that effective capacity guarantee, pretty impressive. Even, again, no questions asked. So even in an environment where there might be data reduction already occurring, or there might be challenging data sets. With that, we offer superior performance. We are the lowest response time, highest overall throughput in our solutions out there. And when we wrap this all up with a solution like Veeam, we're able to provide this in flexible financial models. So we have our EverFlex offering financial models where you could pay per use or as a service. I know this is important to a lot of service providers and it helps de-risk things. So we have the ability to take something like your Veeam software if you purchase through us, as well as your hardware from Hitachi, and you're able to then offer that up to your customers while you're consuming that as a service or buy the drip from us at Hitachi. You'll see in our line, we cover every area where you would need hardware to run your Veeam solution. That is with the backup servers, we can provide servers for that that's Hitachi OEM and Hitachi supported. That's with your resiliency domains for your hardened repositories. We have our block storage or file storage offerings there. And what we're going to talk about more in depth today with our partners at Managecast is the object storage that we offer for backup target as well as copy target with Veeam. Again, the object storage, the block storage through hardened repository, every one of these aspects can be immutable storage that is retention locked as well. So that's a benefit too. From the overall big picture, we also offer production or what we call frontline storage, right? So you can actually run your systems on our storage and then back up through Veeam to our repositories or content platform as well. Taking into account, as Tim mentioned, have the ability with that front-end storage running on us to leverage the Veeam plugins for snapshots and be able to offload a lot of your backups for your customers off of the actual VMs and ES6i clusters or your containers, offload that onto storage, right? So a lot of benefits there as well. Here's a sort of view at that complete backup immutability that I spoke about earlier. We're able to have immutable storage in every one of these layers, including as sort of just a general S3 bucket or cloud object storage that you might today go out to something like AWS or Azure or somewhere else with. We can offer that functionality as well through partners like Managecast and through through our solutions, back-ending with our object store, various things. So again, a little bit more about our reliability. There's a reason we can offer that 100% data availability guarantee. A lot of that goes into our systems and the ingenuity and innovation that's inside of them. I mean, wrap your mind for a second around our HCP. Our HCP, our object store, it has 15 nines of data durability. This is what Nathan is running in his data center. That means that unless Nathan is Count Dracula and we don't know it, he'll never see likely an outage. 1 bit lost every 1 trillion years is how that math works out. So again, that is the industry leading by far durability in that space. From an accessibility perspective, over 10 nines of accessibility. We understand that when you're looking at cloud solutions, the general rule of thumb is 4 nines, right? So you can bet, on our partners at Managecast, they have both that accessibility 10 nines and the 15 nines of data durability running their service. We provide 2 copies of metadata at all time. There's self-healing mechanisms within our object store that will go in and validate content, automatically do object repairs. Customers can configure and select how many local object copies they would like to keep, 2, 3, or 4. The default is 2. And of course, we supply replication and object versioning that integrates with locking and the immutability features that we support through Veeam. And if we're looking at sort of how we integrate with some of the specialized ways of backing up with Veeam, of course, a very hot topic right now is M365, which I know Managecast is a great service provider for all things Veeam, as well as this part of it with M365 backups. The ability to be able to take that cloud object store or cloud SaaS that you have in 365 and put it on an object store on-prem to have your second copy of that data should something go wrong, with your data in Teams or Microsoft 365. Another area that we do often is a secondary copy or a backup copy, right? To have that backup going to the cloud or an object store in the cloud and then flowing back through our HCP on-prem. So a lot of flexibility in our functionality there as we work really well with Veeam together. This is probably our most talked about option right here with Kasten K10 and what we do in Hitachi Vantara. Obviously, other major providers and acquisitions around VMware. We're hearing a lot of things from our customers that maybe they're starting to think more about moving to containers. We'll just put it that way. And so how do we back up those workloads, especially with Kubernetes, has been a hot topic. And we have solutions built in at every source of the way, whether it be edge, data center, or cloud. And we can provide those solutions with the reliability and resiliency of Veeam, backed by our 100% data availability guarantee and all the features we talked about with our storage. So sort of to wrap it up here in summary, we've got you covered with Veeam at every step of the way, whether you need production storage and are looking for more availability, better performance at a lower price point, whether that be backup storage for primary copies or secondary or cloud-based object store. We have a Veeam certified, Veeam integrated, and Veeam ready designs for every one of those pieces. So what I want to do now is pass it over to Nathan at Managecast. He could tell you a little bit more about what Managecast is doing and the great services they're providing there. Nathan?
All right. Thanks, David. And thank you also, Tim. I'm Nathan Golden, CEO of Managecast. And I think I'm going to be pretty short and sweet here. I'm the one that actually has to use this stuff that they're talking about. So I'm here to validate everything that they have said, because we live this on a daily basis. First, a little bit about us. We have been in business for 24 years. We are 100% focused on backup and disaster recovery. This isn't a component of our business or a department of our business. This is our entire business. And out of that 100% backup and recovery business, 95% of that business is centered around Veeam. So Veeam is very, very important to us and really is our entire business. We have data centers in Cincinnati, Ohio, and Royal Oak, Michigan. We're SOC audited, have lots of compliance certifications. We are a platinum Veeam cloud provider, and we've got 4 Veeam certified engineers and 2 Veeam certified architects on staff. So we're very deep engineering wise on Veeam as well. Next, please. Yeah, so we've owned Hitachi for about a year and a half, and I want to kind of take you through some of these different items here that we were considering when we were looking at Hitachi. We were looking at several different object storage solutions. That was our focus, was object storage. That's what we bought Hitachi for. That's what it does for us, is centered around object. When we looked at the different competitors, one popular competitor, when we talked to another service provider using that competitor, they told us that we would need 3 dedicated storage engineers internally to support the solution, and that would obviously greatly add to our operational cost. So having that pillar of service and support was incredibly important to us. And we knew that Hitachi delivered enterprise support and service to minimize our internal efforts, and this matched well with our needs. We also realized that some of the largest enterprises in the world use Hitachi storage and knew they were a large global company to be able to support our needs 24/7. Talking about scalability, now this may have changed. I don't know. I haven't looked at it recently, but a year and a half ago, there were several object storage competitors using the Cassandra database to track objects in object storage. And there were several articles and threads about scalability of using Cassandra to track objects. It just wasn't designed to do that. Now, maybe competitors have gotten over that limitation. I don't know, but at the time, a lot of competitors use Cassandra. Hitachi does not use Cassandra to track objects, and there are no scalability issues that we've uncovered or have seen in the market. And one of the reasons we chose Hitachi was to make sure we could scale the solution into the petabytes without any issues. Bulletproof protection. This gets back to some of the things that David indicated in his slides, and being a backup and disaster recovery provider, not only for our customers, but we also have other service providers and their customers that are using us, and we cannot afford to be down. And so resilience and making sure that we're always up was extremely important to us. And really what it comes down to is I personally need to be able to sleep well at night, and having great support and a bulletproof protection was extremely important to me personally. So next slide, please. I'll just talk real quick about the Managecast platform. Our Veeam Innovation Award winning platform is utilized by not only us, but we have other service providers that deliver their white label backup services through us, specifically around Microsoft 365 backup as well as comprehensive Veeam monitoring. All of our Microsoft 365 backup storage, as well as our other service providers' data, is stored on the Hitachi storage we have. In addition, we also have other object storage workloads such as Veeam NAS backup, Veeam scale-out repositories, and all that is working really well for us. And just like what Veeam says, it just works. And we have been very happy with our Hitachi solution, and the partnership between Veeam and Hitachi has lived up to our very high expectations. And based on our experience, we highly recommend you consider Hitachi storage for your Veeam enterprise, or we'd be glad to talk to you about how you could leverage our Hitachi storage solution in a white label Veeam offering. Bottom line, it's a safe choice for us. And that's it.
Okay, great. We did have a couple questions come in, and I wanted to go ahead and read these off and see if the team can answer them. So one is, you mentioned flexible payment programs, Everflex. Can you cite an example as to how those programs may help a service provider or customer better control their costs?
Sure,
David,
Tim,
you want to take that?
Sure, I can field that one, Tim. Thank you. So interesting with Everflex, and again, it's not our only financial model that we offer. You could still traditionally do a CapEx purchase. You could do a traditional lease, but Everflex is becoming more and more popular with customers and service providers. And let me give you an example with Veeam. Today, your path to Veeam is probably going to your Veeam reps, purchasing your Veeam, going to a server rep or reseller, purchasing your servers, going to a storage vendor that may be different, purchasing your storage from that perspective, and then your ancillary support costs and all that good stuff. Number one, if you're doing a traditional CapEx purchase, we know you're buying up front, right? You're going to probably buy a lot of your capacity up front, even though you're not going to use it day one, you might grow into it. With an Everflex type flexible model, you could get all of those same components you could commit to a minimum commit. Let's say you're going to start off using 100 terabytes. That might be your minimum commit. And then you can essentially pay over time for what you use. So it's a cloud-like build model that would include your Veeam software, your servers, your any hardware you buy. Hitachi, as I mentioned, is a reseller of Veeam. And with that model, then you're paying for all that on consumption. Now, the nice thing about a model like that for service providers is it's an elastic model. As your business ebbs and flows, you can grow and pay for what you're using. But if you're hitting a low period or you're having subscribers that may have left, you then would be elastic and shrink back down to that minimum commit. So obviously there's some risk on our side with Hitachi with that financial model, and we're de-risking it for our customers. So hopefully that cites an example of how we're using that in the field.
Thanks, David. I think I have another one for you though here. You talk about 100% data availability guarantee. Are there financial ramifications for Hitachi if you do not meet up to the guarantee?
There are actually, Tim. That's a great question.
Okay.
The guarantee does have financial ramification implications for Hitachi. Essentially, we repay for outage time that is suffered by our customers. So we definitely put our money where our mouth is. Not like some guarantees out there where, hey, we'll send you a credit for a future purchase, right? We're actually refunding money to your company if we miss our SLAs.
Okay. Another question here. Can Veeam backups be immutable with Hitachi storage? And I know that to be the case. There's a couple different ways we could do that, including object locking, Linux repositories. But did you or Nathan want to touch on that as well?
I was going to say we use it. We have immutability in our environment. Works really well. So the object lock capability of Veeam is fully supported on Hitachi Object Storage.
Okay.
Yeah.
Looks like at least one more here. Can Veeam migrate data from different object storage to Hitachi Object Storage?
Yes. Well, I don't know if David wants to take that or I can take it, but the nice thing about Hitachi is that it's fully S3 compatible. So as long as your source is S3 compatible, and the Hitachi is S3 compatible, it should be totally possible for you to move workloads from one object solution to another object solution. And in fact, that's what we did when we had a previous object solution, is we had to migrate data. But yes, anything that's S3 compatible should allow you to migrate to the Hitachi, which is also S3 compatible.
Perfect.
And then Emily, is there any other questions that I might not be aware of?
That is all the questions in the chat for now. But if you
Okay.
guys have any additional questions, you can leave them in the chat or email them directly to the email that you guys got the reminders from, and we will follow up with you with any questions you guys might have.
All right. I think that's it, everybody. Thank you for joining us. We'll give you a little bit of time back. And again, if you have any other questions, put them in the chat and we'll respond offline.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, everybody.